Hey, how's everybody doing today? Welcome back to another Tool Talk, where I try to help you guys save money on tools and get started in woodworking. Today, we're going to talk about routers and router bits, so I hope you'll stick around. You might pick up a few tips. Who knows? Um, so, let's get started. Talk about routers. One of my pet peeves is all the marketing that's done on YouTube with these big fancy shops and these high dollar tools that are nice, but most of us don't need that stuff. We need inexpensive tools that'll do the job that we can start woodworking with and we can start learning. Yes, down the road, if you end up making this a business, sure, buy those better tools. They have a few extra fancy features that you may never use, but who knows? So I want to talk about the routers that I own and the pros and cons of each one. So let's get started. Here's the first one, little Ryobi laminate trimmer. Just picked this thing up recently at the tool sale. It's a pretty basic router, nothing too fancy, but hey, it works, and it was $30. Number two is my Bosch, another laminate trimmer. This one has a circle jig on it that allows me to do circles. Yeah, I'll adjust it now. Anyway, the reason I have multiple routers is so that I can use and put bases like this on, and I don't have to change them all the time. This was another, I think I paid $25 for this one. This one didn't come with a bit, the $30 one did. And this is my favorite, a Harbor Freight Special. I bought this thing 12 years ago as a disposable router. I needed to replace a laminate on a half door, and I didn't have a router with me at that time. So I went to Harbor Freight, picked this thing up. It's $25. Figured it wouldn't last long, but it'd at least get through the job. And surprisingly, this has become my favorite router. I love this thing. It has fallen off the bench a dozen times or more. It's been abused, and it just keeps rocking. I put this long base on it, and you can see it's broken from falling off the bench. But what I like about this is when I'm routing edges, I've got a nice wide base that I can put on the piece, hold it down, and it makes it much easier to control. I hate the little bitty bases that come with these routers. They're hard to control. I would highly recommend, if you need a router, you don't have one, pick this thing up. Now, you'll see all over the internet the battery-powered routers, and they're great for $200-300. The problem with them, in my opinion, is the battery. The batteries go dead quick. I mean, it's recommended that you have two batteries so you can keep one on the charger while you're using one and then switch them out all the time. I hate that. In a shop environment, I'm not a fan of battery-powered tools. You don't need them. Why spend that extra money? It doesn't make sense to me. I can plug this thing in, and it'll go all day if I want it to. And I don't have to worry about batteries going dead in the middle of a route. It just keeps right on plugging. So highly recommend this one as a first router. Yeah, it's cheap. It's not the greatest. People say it's underpowered. I haven't had any problems with it. Yeah, in some of the real hard woods, you might have to go a little bit slower, but that's a pretty easy trade-off for the price. They're 25 bucks, guys. Now let's get into full-size routers. First one, my Bosch full size. You can see it's got a plate on it. Same concept as the laminate trimmer, but I also have drilled holes in it so that I can do circles with it. Nice full-size router, lots of power, but it's heavy. This one came from a pawn shop for 50 bucks. I got both the plunge base and the standard base, and I think there was a couple bits that came with it in a case for 50 bucks. They're out there, guys. You just got to find them. And then my monstrosity here. This is my Wen. This thing will power through almost anything. You've seen me use this in some videos. It's got a big wide base on it. I hog out bowls with this and serving trays. Plunge router, which I highly recommend if you're going to buy a full-size router, get a plunge. This thing wasn't super expensive. It's variable speed. It's soft start. Really happy with this thing. I've had it a couple of years. It's still running strong. And then behind me, let's see if you can see it here, is my router table. I built this thing, built the cabinets, countertop, put laminate on it, bought a lift from Banggood. Let me get you a close-up of that lift. There you can see the lift plate. Pretty happy with that so far. It does everything I've asked it to do. And then up above are my router bits. And you guys probably have been around for a while. You've seen me build this cabinet. And I've got a ton of router bits thanks to Temu. You know, I've heard so many horror stories about how bad the Chinese bits are, but the truth is, guys, they're all Chinese bits. And I want to show you something. There's two bits right here. Here's one, here's the other. Let me get in real close on those. One of those came from Temu. The other one was 4 times the price, came from Amazon. If you can't tell, they're the exact same bit. There's no difference. Temu bits are great. You just have to be careful of the shank sizes. Are there bad ones out there? I'm sure there are. But when I first started building guitars, I needed a roundover bit. It's somewhere, who knows. And I went and bought a Bosch bit. Paid, I don't know, $40, $50 for it. The bearing lasted about 15 minutes and went bad. Blew up on me. Couldn't find a replacement bearing. So I went to Temu looking for bearings and bought a roundover bit from Temu. And that roundover bit from Temu just keeps right on chugging along. I can't stress enough, guys. Are these expensive bits from Bits and Bits and Freud and stuff better? Yeah. But we're not using them every day. We're using them every once in a while. We don't need bits that will last as long. And this way, I can have a lot of bits. Some of them have barely been used. Some of them get used quite a bit. Now, if I've got a bit that I'm using all the time and I'm wearing them out, which I had that issue yet, I will definitely go to a higher end bit from a better company. But I haven't found that I need that yet. I'm very pleased with everything I've got here. Some of the spiral bits, you can see one there in the back. Doing a great job. There's a small one up here in the front. Flush trim. And of course my bushings. And I just picked up an inlay kit. Haven't even taken it out of the box yet. But pretty much anything I want to do, I've got a bit for it. Have I been burned a couple times? Yeah, I screwed up a couple times and bought bits with metric shanks that didn't work with my routers. Oh well, I've saved enough money on all these bits that I don't need to worry about that. It's just live and learn. Now I've learned. Be careful. So there it is, guys. So that's my take on routers and router bits. Stay away from those high dollar routers. You don't need them getting started. Go with the less expensive versions. The one that's in my router table is the full size Harbor Freight. And I've been using it for, well, it's been in this table for what, year and a half, 2 years? And I used it as a standalone router before that. And it's still going strong. I've got my money's worth out of it, in my opinion. I'll probably buy another one when this one goes back and just replace it. I don't need those high dollar expensive routers. And I'm sorry, but a router does one thing. It spins a bit real fast. Other than that, I just don't see what those fancy routers offer. Longer life, possibly. But like I said, I'm not using them every day. I'm not a full-time business out here in the shop, 8 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. I'm more of a hobbyist. So I can get by with the lower quality, less expensive tools. Accuracy-wise, if it spins the bit, it's accurate. The rest of it is up to me. So I hope you got a few tips out of this. Buy used if you can. If not, look for the less expensive options. And corded tools are less expensive. Battery doesn't offer the advantages unless you know you're going to be working out someplace where there's no power. And anymore, I think you're almost better off buying one of those portable power stations that you can plug all your different tools in and saving the money on the tools and the batteries. Now, we'll talk about drills and drivers in another episode, and that's one place where I like the batteries for the small drills and drivers. But we'll talk about that later. In the meantime, you guys have a great week. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you choose to subscribe to the channel to get more tips and tricks like this and watch me build some stuff. You have a great day. Later. Bye.